and social care. And how we might use that as an extra kind of tool or provision for us when we're thinking about students that have come to the end of their T-levels and industry placements, and we're thinking about maybe moving those students in particular through to the health and social care routes that either haven't gone on to do a high level qualification or an apprenticeship, or have not managed to get a job themselves, because this is a really interesting provision to support students doing that. So before we go any further, as you're probably all aware now, we've done it so many times, we are recording this session and we will make it accessible on our industry placement Padlet. That's going to be for member colleges or colleges that we work with that have not been able to attend today because they've been busy. Can I ask everybody to please mute your microphones while we're in this meeting? This will help reduce background noise. And as if on cue, I've just heard some background noise, so that's great. Please feel free to submit any questions that you may have in the chat, and we'll make some time at the end of today's presentation to address those questions, and we'll hear directly from Natalie and the team about any proposed suggestions to those questions as well. And as we're on Zoom, if any of you have shared the Zoom links with colleagues, it's likely that your username may not be representative of who you are. On Zoom, if you're not familiar with it, you just need to click on the name tag and just change your name to one that identifies you. Thank you. Next slide, please, Abby. So the aims for today's session are going to be to introduce you to the Prince's Trust scheme and how they support students into health and social care jobs and other jobs as well, actually. We're going to consider how to maybe align student destinations with the Prince's Trust offer. And look at, as I say, having this as an extra tool in your resource kit to be able to provide some careers advice guidance with students as well. We'll hear from Natalie how we can access their service today, and then hopefully we'll have some opportunity to look and maybe for you to reflect on ways of working, whether or not this offer actually fits with what you want to do. So next slide, please, Abby. So with no further ado, I'm going to let Natalie talk to you about the offer and to really talk to you about the Prince's Trust as she works there, and will do a much better job than me. So thank you very much for listening, and I'll pass you over to Natalie.
Thanks, Pete. Thanks, Abby. Could you just move on to the next slide, please? Apology, there's going to be lots of next slides throughout this presentation, as there is lots to get through today. But thanks, Pete, for the introduction. So I'm Natalie, I'm the National Partnership Manager at the Prince's Trust on our health and social care team, and I'm joined today by Hamani. So Hamani is a young person who's actually been on one of our programmes and was very successful and is now actually working in health and social care. But I won't say too much, as Hamani will be sharing her experience and telling you a little bit more about how we've supported her into the sector and how she found our programme. So there'll be an opportunity also to ask Hamani any questions at the end of the presentation. So thank you for your time and for being here today to hear more about the opportunities that we have available. Next slide, please, Abby. So just a brief agenda for the day. I'm going to be talking through a little bit about the Prince's Trust. You may have already heard of us and know some of the work that we do, but just touching on that. And then also moving on to how we can support your students. You'll be hearing from Hamani, you'll be sharing her experience of the programme. And then also I will be explaining and sharing how the process works and next steps with getting in touch if you'd like to know more and how we can explore working together in the future. Next slide, please, Abby. Great, so just a short overview of the Prince's Trust. We are the UK's leading youth charity and we've supported over 1 million young people since 1970. We offer a range of programmes to help young people with their skills and confidence, and our aim is to support young people and really help them move into a variety of different outcomes, whether that's work, education, training or volunteering. Thanks, Abby. So a little bit about our health and social care project, which is why I'm here today and what I'm sharing. The Printers Trust was awarded £20 million funding in 2019, and we were awarded a 4-year contract in partnership with the Department of Health, and we've also got some match funding as well from a range of our different partnerships who support the Printers Trust. And our target was to support 5,000 young people aged between 16 to 30 move into sustainable employment in clinical and non-clinical roles within health and social care. And those sustained outcomes are for 3 months or more. So we're really passionate and keen to ensure that the young people we work with do move into sustainable outcomes, and it's not just a quick fix and it doesn't work out. We really want to set young people up for success. So all of the employers that we work with, we fully undertake due diligence checks to make sure that they are suitable employers for young people and offer quality employment and experiences as well. So that's something that we're really passionate about. So we work with over 150 different health and social care employers, working in partnership to support young people into a variety of roles within the sector. So we work with lots of social care providers, but also lots of NHS trusts across England as well. So this contract is just in England currently. The Printers Trust does offer wider support to young people in Northern Ireland, Wales and Scotland, but specifically on the contract with the Department of Health, it currently is only in England. Thanks, Abby. Next slide, please. So these are just some sorry, if we could just flip back, I said next slide too quickly, sorry. So these are just some examples of the employer partners that we work with. Some of these are our national partners, so you may recognise some of these brands. There's lots and lots of others that aren't on here, such as lots of different NHS trusts and also national social care and health and social care providers, such as Boots and Specsavers, Bupa, but there is over 150. But this will just give you an insight into some of the employers that we work with. And what we're, as I said, what we do with all of our employers who support our project is ensure that we undertake due diligence checks to make sure that they are a quality employer and they're going to give young people the best possible experience when they are on a work placement or on a programme, and then eventually when they do progress into employment in the sector. Thanks, Abby. On to the next slide, please. So we're just going to talk through how, there's just some writing on there, you might need to just click again. Oh, there was a slide that said how we can support your students, but I'm not sure whether the text just hasn't come through. So moving on to how we can support your students. So the first offer of support is employability support. So I'm sure lots of colleges already have that careers advice and guidance available to students already, but something that we can really do is offer tailored support within the sector. So support with application forms and CVs, and then also preparing young people for any interviews with those employers, specifically health and social care preparation for those interviews. And we can also support young people who've been offered a job as well, offer support to young people who've been unsuccessful with an application or an interview. And also some of our programmes do offer a work experience element, which do come with guaranteed interviews. So there's a wide range of offerings available to young people. A number of our programmes do offer that work experience element, which can be really beneficial to young people. But some of our programmes are also geared towards young people who are really ready to start a job, and it can be a 2 to 3 day programme where we really ensure that young people are fully prepared for the interview with the employer, which is usually the last day of the programme. So there's a real variety and there's something for everybody that comes onto our programmes. Next slide, please, Abby. So we can also offer financial support to young people who have been offered a job. Maybe they're just needing some support with DBS costs, travel, uniform or clothing, equipment and childcare. So we're quite flexible with how we can provide that financial support. So Any young person on our programmes has access to this financial support. We also have a programme, if we can just move to the next slide, Abby, which is our job offer to start. So for any young people that have actually been offered a job and maybe don't require the support from us in terms of a work experience programme or matching young people to some of the employers that we work with in terms of a guaranteed interview. For young people that maybe have got a job offer lined up already but may benefit from support with regards to that financial support, or we also can offer our Mind Up service, which is a mental health platform that provides one-to-one support with trained mental health practitioners. We offer mentoring, so lots of our mentors have been or are currently still working in the health and social care sector and can support young people within the first 3 to 6 months of employment, helping them with their onboarding checks, so all of that employability paperwork, helping with ID checks. We can pay for provisional licenses and documents that may be needed to start a job. So this is another offering that we can offer to young people. So we like to think there is something for everybody, regardless of whether they're just leaving college or they're going to be leaving college and would like some support for us to help match up to some of our employer partners, or it may be that they've already got a job lined up. They might have been on a work placement and really impressed the employer. They've been offered a job but would just benefit from some of this extra support to help them start the job as well. So we're really keen to support young people regardless of where they are on that journey. Next slide, please, Abby. So how we can look after your students. So I'm not sure exactly, who's on the call and where you are and where you're based in England, but we do have a range of regional teams. So we have 7 regional teams dotted across England, all cover that patch, for example. So after today, if you're interested in finding out more on how we can work more closely with your specific organisation, we will match you with a local team who will be able to be visible, come in, meet your students, meet you, and be that local point of contact, which we think is really important. The support is quick, so we can get back to young people within 48 hours, so really quick turnaround if young people require support or are interested in one of our programmes. We have a dedicated mentors, as mentioned, who are volunteers who work within the sector or have worked within the sector. We have our youth development lead to actually lead and run our programmes and offer that support to young people, and also our support staff at the Prince's Trust. We also have a designated safeguarding team who are there to handle any safeguarding concerns or queries. They're there to fully support young people. So we fully support young people with all aspects of the above, and we've got the teams and the support services there to offer that if needed. Just onto the next slide, please, Abby. So these are some examples of the programmes that we deliver. There's lots more. I just picked a couple just to give you some examples of what's coming up. So we have a North West Ambulance programme, which is coming up. Well, what date are we on? Yeah, it's coming up in a couple of days, but we run these continuously. So, for example, on this programme, we're supporting young people into call handling, patient transport, ambulance care assistant roles. We have a programme with Wigan and Lee Hospital coming up in May, and that involves healthcare assistant placements. The London Ambulance Service in May also offers various roles, and we run a regular programme with them on a monthly basis. Get a job as a healthcare assistant in the NHS, which is with Lancashire Teaching Hospital, and again includes a work placement. We have a Steps into Health and Social Care programme, which is a national programme. It runs every 2 weeks, and young people join an introduction session with a number of other young people and find out a little bit more about what the Steps Into programme involves. And then that young person will be fully supported by a mentor afterwards to whether it's an application form, a CV, interview preparation, and also then introductions to some of our employers, such as the above as well, if needed. And then we also have our mentoring support, which is national and continuous. So we can match young people to our mentors at any given time. And again, that mentor just provides that one-to-one support. Young people are then entitled to any financial support as well. And also introductions to all of the employer partners within their local area that we currently work with. So that is a very short snippet of some of the programmes. We do have a wide range of programmes running nationally, but that's just really to give you a bit of a flavour of the type of opportunities that we have. We've got I think we might be missing a slide, Abby. Yeah, thank you. So I think just the format of the presentation is just a little bit off, so sorry about that. So I'm just going to introduce you now to Hermione, who is one of our young people who've been in our programmes, and Hermione is kindly volunteered her time to come along today to share her experience of being on a programme and how it's worked for her. So I'll hand over to Hermione, and yeah, if there's any questions at the end of the presentation, please feel free to drop them in the chat or let us know. Thank you, Hermione.
Thank you, Natalie. Hi, everyone. I'm Hermione. Like Natalie said, I'm somebody who went on a previous programme with a Prince's Trust regarding health and social care. And I'm just going to go into more detail with the programme that I did and how I've sort of worked that journey. So I did the Get Into Health and Social Care programme around November of 2021. So just as COVID was ending off. So my programme was 10 days, about 10 days, and it had everything from the basics of what you need to know working in health and social care, and CV support, interview support, and just mentoring as well. I think my mentoring was about 6 months after I finished the programme, and they gave you the option to extend it to, I think, about 12 months as well if you needed that extra support. I didn't really need it, but it's good to know that that was there. So throughout those 10 days, they were online because obviously there were some restrictions on going face to face. And so we just went through things like safeguarding and how to approach difficult situations. As somebody who had just finished their A-levels in 2021, I think that was really, really helpful because I'd never really worked in a setting like this. I never had a job before, so it was really, really helpful to sort of go through every single thing. Even if it felt a bit repetitive, it was good to like have that foundation and sort of be able to ask questions about everything. Yeah, and then regarding with CV help as well, they help you from everything. Like you'll have a session where there would be other people in the program with you, and the leader of the group will be going through the NHS jobs website, and from everything to filling out your name to pressing the submit button, like they're there for you for every step of the way. So that was really good as well. And with your mock interview support, you kind of get a guaranteed interview, which is what I had at a trust that that they had designated the program to. So I had that guaranteed interview offer, and with the mentoring for the mock interview, it was really, really good. So we had a mock day where I would have a one-to-one sort of session, and it would be like kind of doing like a mock exam, but actually doing an interview. So you had those mock questions, which were similar to what questions would come up in your actual interview, which was really, really helpful. And yeah, so when the interview was over, the official one, I had basically gotten my offer on that day. But the problem was that because of the time frame like COVID, there was a bit of an issue with admin, and I sort of got my work start date 4 months after. So I know I did my program in November, but I started in end of March, which was kind of a big gap. But I think it's gotten a lot better speaking to new starters in my area, which I work in intensive care at a hospital in Birmingham. So it's gotten a lot better, and the Prince's Trust was really, really helpful with the mentoring support after the program, catching up with me, calling me up, asking me if there's anything that they could do, and they would push admin support at the hospital and sort of get them to speed up the process basically. And as for my job, it's been quite good because I work in intensive care. It's really different from working as a HCA on a ward as well. So you are given that training and support the week before you actually start properly in your job. So that's really good as well. And I've been working there, I would say, about over a year now, and it's been really, really insightful. And at the time of applying to this program, I was kind of on the fence of going into like health and social care as a general or going into medicine, and this sort of like helped me get experience in a hospital. And through that experience and being able to talk to members of the multidisciplinary team, I was able to finally come to the decision that I wanted to do medicine. And I applied last year, and I will be starting this September at Newcastle University. So yeah, if anybody's got any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thanks for that, Himani. We'll come on and do some questions, actually. I think, is there a couple of more slides for you, Nikki?
Yeah, there's just a couple more. There's a video
Okay.
on the next slide if we can get the sound to work.
Okay.
And then, yeah, there's an
and then we'll have a look
opportunity.
at some questions. But thank you for that insight, Hermione.
Thank you, Himani.
I don't think we're going to be able to get the sound to work. However, we will put the video link in the chat. I think Alex may have done that, but he will repost as well.
Thanks, Abby. Yeah, and just to give a bit of context to the video, so Tanya was, again, a young person who's been in our programme. She had come from a really challenging background and went on to win one of our Prince's Trust Rising Star Awards. They're actually hosted via ITV. So there's one coming up actually in a couple of weeks' time. I don't know when it's going out live, but they're really inspiring, and Tanya's story is really inspiring as well. So I would really recommend giving that a watch. Thanks, Abby. Next slide, please. Thank you. So just to mention as well, because while Himani was given a bit of an overview of her experience on one of our programs, I was just thinking really about how, you know, the roles that we support young people into, clinical and non-clinical, it can really be an opportunity for all students, not necessarily just health and social care students. So we work with young people who are studying business or catering or hospitality. There's so many different opportunities for young people who are studying to progress into the sector. There's over 350 different careers within health and social care, IT, finance. There's just so many endless opportunities, and we do really strive to ensure that our programmes offer that diversity of roles and opportunities. And whilst not every programme offers that diversity, for example, some of our programmes are just specifically healthcare assistant opportunities. Some do offer, like University Hospital Birmingham as an example, Coventry Hospital. I know they're really flexible and have lots of different opportunities available. So I think the key message is this isn't just tailored towards health and social care students. We support young people who studies a wide range of topics and with a wide range of interests and aspirations. So I think that's really important to consider. So really keen to work with young people right across the board, not specifically students who are studying health and social care. And again, age ranges, we support from the ages of 16 to 30. We can support young people into part-time roles, flexible roles. It doesn't have to be 35 or 37 hours a week. It can be weekends, evenings, bank shifts. So we can really support young people to fit in around if they are going to university, for example, or maybe are looking for some experience over the summer months. We can definitely support young people into those vacancies as well. So there's lots of flexibility for young people. So before we move on to any questions, just with regards to next steps, there's a QR code that you can scan and it'll take you through to a very basic form which asks for your details. That'll then come through to me, and then we will then introduce you to the local team. I am happy to support with that as well, and then start exploring personally with you how we can work together and how we can promote these opportunities to your students. I'm also going to pop a link in the chat, which is, again, it's the equivalent of the QR code if for whatever reason the QR code isn't working or you can't access it. So please, yeah, feel free to complete that if you're interested in exploring how we can work with you on an individual basis. And that takes me to the end of my slides. I wanted to keep it short and sweet and get the key theme across, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Natalie, and thank you, Hermione, for sharing those insights. Abby, can we just stop sharing so I can see people again? Lovely, thank you. I thought that was really interesting. Obviously, I'd heard of the Prince's Trust and I was aware of some of the work that you do, but I think this dovetails really nicely into kind of progression for students. And the fact that you're able to support into health and social care all of the other pathways as well, I think will be of real interest to providers on this call. I've kept a close eye on the chat and there didn't seem to be many questions coming in from the audience, but I have a question, Natalie. Just thought, with the work that you're doing with Wigan and Lee, as this is a provider, and I think everybody on the call will be able to access that a little bit more easily. Can you just talk us through how that started and what the aims and objectives were? How did you start working with Wigan and Lee?
Yeah, well, we're very fortunate because of the contracts that we have with the Department of Health, that we work very closely with Health Education England, and they have an agenda and a project called Talent for Care. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of it before, but lots of organisations and NHS trusts across England are really passionate and keen on widening participation and engaging with young people. I actually used to work at Wigan and Lee Hospital as an example, so that's I know, for, you know, I've got the background and know that they are really passionate about it, but all of the hospitals that we work with are really passionate about supporting young people. So we're really fortunate that we do get that introduction to the local hospitals via our contract in Health Education England. But then the Prince's Trust work directly with each hospital to explore what their workforce requirements are. So what we wouldn't want to do is, for example, create a programme where there's never going to be any vacancies for young people. So we work with partners that are currently hiring, looking for young people. They've got vacancies that they need to fill. So we're supporting their workforce, challenges and their recruitment, but we're also supporting young people into them vacancies as well. And it's a pretty known fact across the health and social care sector that the age range of 16 to 24-year-olds, it's a really small percentage of the workforce. So there's lots of initiatives via Health Education England and Talent for Care to really ensure that that changes. So that's, as I said, we're really fortunate that via our contract, we've got lots of those relationships established. But then it's our teams who then work with that local hospital to then explore what vacancies we have, what type of programmes will work best. For example, a work experience programme might be more suitable, but not everybody has that opportunity to offer a placement. So we would run a similar programme to what Hermione explained, where we would work with young people over a couple of days, really support them, ensure that they're ready for an interview, and then the employer takes over and ensures that young people are fully trained.
Brilliant. I can see a message from Nicola Kassam. Said, I'd love to work with you. I'm in Manchester, work with T-levels and BTEC for health and social care, and she's completed your form already while on the call. So
brilliant, thanks Nicola. And we've got lots of really good relationships in the Manchester area already established. We work very closely. I think it's I know it's changed names a couple of times, but CMFT and also Salford Royal. So we've got a real good relationship with them with lots of opportunities. They're really keen to speak with you about working more closely in that area.
Thank you. Nabil, I think in answer to your question, Nabil said this is a really interesting presentation. It'll be a great help for providers, which I've had no doubt that you'll be a real asset to the toolkit there for them. So is there a contact link for the Southeast, or will this just be done through the QR code? So I think you mentioned earlier, didn't you, that the QR code will come through to you and you'll allocate that to the right team?
Yeah, that's right. So we do have a team within the Southeast. So yeah, once we've got your details through, I will then hand that over to the local team and we can arrange a call and explore more about, you know, what you require, what we've got available in that area, what we can do to support.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, so look, you've got forms coming in thick and fast.
Yeah,
now.
I've got
That's
lots
really
of
good.
alerts coming up, which is lovely to see.
That's really good, everybody. Thank you for putting those in. I hope it's going to be a real benefit for you as well. Do we have any other questions from the floor? If you do have a question, please unmute yourself and feel free to ask it, or pop it in the chat and I'll ask it.
Thanks, Pete. And just to add as well, I'm not sure everybody's roles or departments on the call, but I'm happy for this to be shared more widely with colleagues. Happy to pick up, you know, individual conversations with any of your colleagues that may be interested in hearing more about this as well.
We'll be putting this recording on Padlet once it's downloaded. It sometimes takes a day to download it from Zoom, but we'll have it on Padlet by the end of the week and people will be able to access it from there. So give me another opportunity. Are there any questions that people have from the floor? Any other questions? Okay. I know we booked this in. I normally book these in for longer than we need sometimes, just in case there's volumes and volumes of questions that come up at the end. But if there are no more questions, what we'll do is I'm just going to pop up a quick poll for people to complete, because we need to report kind of satisfaction and benefit back to DFE. So if I could just ask you to take a couple of seconds, really, it's not very long at all, just to complete that poll. That will give us some really, really good feedback, so thank you for that. It's lovely to know that people have already got in contact with you, and anybody else, we'll be sending the slide deck out with all of the links for you as well post today's webinar, so you'll have that through soon as well. And satisfaction ratings are looking really good, Natalie, so that's always a good sign. People have found that really useful and really interesting.
Yeah, I'll be in touch. I'll pick everything up first thing in the morning and hope get you introduced to the local teams, and hopefully we can arrange a call to kick things off. Okay. And we've got a national learning event coming up on the 11th of May. I'm just waiting for Natalie to confirm whether or not she'll be able to attend that national learning event. But if she's able to do that, we'll get to meet with her firsthand. I'm sorry if you can hear the noise in the kitchen going next door. Apologies for that. Okay. Thank you for taking time to join us today. I hope everybody's found that really interesting and really useful. As I said, we'll get this up and running for you on Padlet as quickly as we can. And with that, I think we'll grab a little bit of time back from today, make a cup of tea and get on with some admin. I think that's my next role. Thanks very much for your time, everybody. Thanks, everyone.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Speak to you soon. Bye. Thanks,
yes,
Amani.
the poll did launch. We're just going to stay on, Nick.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, the poll did launch, Abby. It launched on my screen anyway.
Thanks, Pete. Thanks, everyone.